So here's what I promise. After November 6th, I will take a hard look at running for president.
Ready. Strap in. Big, deep dive. Ready to take a deep dive. Can't hear myself. Well, there we go. So I'm going to take a deep dive today. So you just heard from Elizabeth Warren, the Pocahontas. When I could, the spastic Pocahontas, right, is going to run for president. Oh my God. You talk about controversy, you talk about fun that we're going to have going into 2020. Oh man. You imagine what Trump is going to do to Pocahontas, to Elizabeth Warren? I mean, it's just going to be, I mean, Trump is the master orator, you know, who shows no boundaries, no retreat, no surrender. You think he's going to retreat from, you know, the loony left and all their politics on touchy-feely women's issues and gay issues, and that all they're trying to do is get the woman vote? You see, that's the Democratic strategy right now. We're not Trump, and half the country's women, so all we have to do is cater to the women, and then we'll pick off some men down the line. It's a ridiculous strategy. They don't stand for anything anymore, right? But did they stand for something? I know a lot of people watching this, they know who Trump is. Trump is new. He doesn't have much of a history with us, but he is the president of the United States. But Elizabeth Warren is someone that has a deep history in politics. She's been a senator for many years. She was instrumental in exposing Hillary Clinton early in 2014. I'm going to show a bunch of videos, so stand by. Watch the whole thing. This is going to be good. I'll show some of what Elizabeth Warren has said in the past, which is good stuff. I mean, Elizabeth, the thing about what's interesting about this is that you're going to see someone who genuinely had their finger on the pulse of the problem. Wait a minute, I'm working. That's my moderator right there. The moderator's telling me to open the can. But Elizabeth Warren genuinely had her finger on the pulse of America, and she was speaking truth to power in the early 2000s as I think she was a professor of some sort of economics professor or political professor. But we're going to watch the video and you're going to see exactly who she is. And in this video, she makes the case for abolishing oligarchy. The problem, she zeroes in on the credit industry, right? The credit industrial complex, where creditors are raping the country of their wealth and the corporations are profiting. And Elizabeth Warren was brilliant at exposing it, right? It's brilliant. I mean, you're going to see it. You may not agree with the politics. You may, fucking socialist, right? But listen to what she's saying, right? Listen to what she's saying or said, because she's not saying it anymore, right? That's the point. That's the point we're going to look at. So this is 2004. This is vintage Elizabeth Warren prior to being a senator. Prior to being a senator, she's not a senator at this point. She's just some teacher in a law school or wherever school she's in. So kick back and enjoy this. This is good. And then I'll come back later.
You tell a story that, to me, illustrates what has happened to our political system in regard to the middle class, in regard to democracy in the country as a whole, and it involves Hillary Clinton.
I had written an op-ed about a piece of pending bankruptcy legislation. The credit card companies have been pushing to try to tighten the bankruptcy laws, sort of like locking the doors to the hospitals and then claiming nobody's sick in America. So they were trying to get the bankruptcy laws constricted, so that fewer families could get in. Why? Because you can make more money if those families don't go into bankruptcy, if you're a credit lender. And so I'd written an op-ed about how this would fall disproportionately hard on women who were raising families and who would be put in the position under this bill of trying to compete with Citibank, MasterCard, Visa, Bank One for getting alimony and child support from their ex-husbands. Mrs. Clinton evidently saw
the First Lady.
The First Lady. She was then First Lady. This is in the 1990s, late 1990s. Mrs. Clinton saw the piece, and I got a call from the White House. And they said Mrs. Clinton was going to be in town to give a speech in Boston, and would I come and meet with her? I said, sure. And so I put together all my files. I show up at the appointed place. After she's finished her speech, we're ushered into a tiny little room somewhere in the bowels of this hotel, and just the two of us. They close the door. Mrs. Clinton sits down. We have hamburgers and French fries.
And you tutor her.
And she says, tell me about bankruptcy. And I got to tell you, I never had a smarter student. Quick, right to the heart of it. I go over the law. It's a complex law. Went over the economics, showed her the graphs, showed her the charts, and she got it. Within 20 minutes, she could play where the rest of it would come. Well, then that will mean this part's happened. That will mean this has happened. I said, yes, that's right. And at the end of the conversation, Mrs. Clinton stood up. She said, let's get our picture taken, which we did. And she said, Professor Warren, we've got to stop that awful bill, referring to this bankruptcy bill that's sponsored by the credit card companies. So I left. She went back to Washington, and I heard later from someone who was a White House staffer that there were skid marks in the hallways when Mrs. Clinton got back as people reversed direction on that bankruptcy bill.
They were supporting the industry, and because of her...
President Clinton had been showing that this was another way that he could be helpful to business. It wasn't a very high visibility bill. And when Mrs. Clinton came back with a little better understanding of how it all worked, they reversed course, and they reversed course fast. And indeed, the proof is in the pudding. The last bill that came before President Clinton was that bankruptcy bill that was passed by the House and the Senate in 2000, and he vetoed it. And in her autobiography, Mrs. Clinton took credit for that veto, and she rightly should. She turned around a whole administration on the subject of bankruptcy. She got it.
And then?
One of the first bills that came up after she was Senator Clinton was the bankruptcy bill. This is a bill that's like a vampire. It will not die, right? There's a lot of money behind it. And
the bill her husband had vetoed.
Her husband had vetoed it very much at her urging.
And?
She voted in favor of it.
Why?
As Senator Clinton, the pressures are very different. It's a well-financed industry. You know, a lot of people don't realize that the industry that gave the most money to Washington over the past few years was not the oil industry, was not pharmaceuticals. It was consumer credit products. Those are the people the credit card companies have been giving money, and they have influence.
And Mrs. Clinton was one of them, as senator. Yeah.
She has taken money from the groups, and more to the point, she worries about them as a constituency.
So what does this mean, though, to these people, these millions of people out there whom the politicians cavort in front of as favoring the middle class, and then are beholden to the powerful interests that undermine the middle class? What does it say about politics today?
You know, this is the scary part about democracy today. We're talking again about the impact of money. The credit industry on this bankruptcy bill has spent tens of millions of dollars lobbying, and as their profits grow, they just throw more into lobbying for how they can get laws that will make it easier and easier and easier to drain money out of the pockets of middle-class families.
So how about that? Goofy Elizabeth Warren making the case. Wow, she's bright, she's articulate, she's even not that offensive on the eyes at the time. She's not quirky and gimmicky and a little fucked up, right? And she makes the case makes the case against Hillary Clinton. Talk about some crazy shit, right? She makes the case for the bankruptcy bill. She makes a case against the bankruptcy bill, and she points out the deep corruption. This is what was defined as progressive politics, right in the middle of the Bush era, right towards the second part of Bush's 2 terms. I have a cat trying to get on my lap. And come on up. Come on up. An appearance. How many appearances are you going to make? So Elizabeth Warren is aggressively making the case against oligarchy, against corporate donors, the donor class, the lobbyists. She makes the case, right? Right. This is 2004. What's coming? Obama. 2008. Obama ran on this platform of reform, of rights for the people, that the oligarchy, that the monopoly is taking over. And what happened? The economy collapsed. It was a bubble. We knew that. And it went to the toilet. And Obama inherited a toilet. He was surrounded by Goldman Sachs guys, Timothy Geithner, then Secretary of State Henry Paulson, right? All these shady Goldman Sachs bankers, Jamie Price, right, from J.P. Morgan. I think that's where he's from. I forget. Right? He had all these bankers around him persuading him to bail out the banks, bail them out. And Dodd-Frank and all these, Barney Frank and Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer. These guys made millions of dollars giving the banks a pass, right? The banks, right? So Elizabeth Warren at the time, was a very noble, intuitive author. I guess that's what she was. She was a teacher and an author. She sat down with Hillary Clinton. She educated Hillary Clinton on the bankruptcy law. And Hillary Clinton, that's not shocking that Hillary Clinton says one thing and then does another. That's Hillary Clinton. That's not the shocking part of this, right? Because Hillary Clinton's a has-been, is a deadbeat, is an old, is an old fag hag. She's out, right? Hillary Clinton is a coffin of politics gone by, right? If she ran for president again, it would be ridiculous, right? But here's Elizabeth Warren coming on like a house on fire. Oh, you talk about, can she win? Is she a formidable candidate? Yes, she's a formidable candidate. I mean, I know a lot of people that follow the Trump, are Trumpsters, don't get it. But let me tell you something. There's 40% of this country that's independent, that the ghost of Elizabeth Warren passed. Her message resonates enormously, right? But she's become a phony. She's become a sellout. She's joined the ranks of Bernie Sanders, repeating the same lies, Russia, Russia. There's no trace. There's no trace of the old Elizabeth Warren in this scenario, in this day and age, right? Right? Is that me saying it? No, let's hear it in her own words. So here she is dissing Hillary Clinton. She's pointing out the tragedy of Hillary Clinton and the impact of money in politics. And she points to the First Lady, who had a great idea and was able to sway her husband, the president, into agreeing to that idea. And then she ran for her own political gain, her own Senate run. And once, as a senator of New York, she voted against it. She took that money, right? She got greedy, right? Right? That's Hillary Clinton, right? That's no surprise, right? That's no surprise. That was the beginning of the Clinton Foundation. Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton left the White House allegedly poor, and now they're worth hundreds of millions of dollars, right? So what happened to... So, of course, Elizabeth Warren would still agree that Hillary Clinton is a slime bag and a money grabber, right? Of course she would, right? Through the Obama days, right? So let's see what happens in 2016. Let's see how Elizabeth Warren, when Hillary Clinton runs for president, of course she's going to step up and say, fucking look, you got to stop Hillary Clinton. She's a money grabber. She's a liar. She's a cheater, right? Of course she's going to say that, right? Of course, right? That would be the right thing to do, right? So let's see what she says.
Hillary Clinton Clinton will be the next president of the United States because she knows what it takes to beat a thin-skinned bully who is driven by greed and hate. She knows you beat a bully not by tucking tail and running, but by standing your ground and fighting back. That's what she's going to do. Just look at her history.
One of the first bills that came up after she was Senator Clinton was the bankruptcy bill. She voted in favor of it. She voted in favor of it. She voted in favor of it.
She's been on the receiving end of one right-wing attack after another for 25 years, but she has never backed down.
She voted in favor of it.
That's right.
So that's the real Elizabeth Warren. Total sellout, right? Total sellout. Sitting next to Hillary Clinton, standing next to Hillary Clinton, right? Cheering on the devil herself. Evil is as evil does. Now, this is a woman running for the president, right? Can she escape? Can she now escape and say, oh, no, well, you know, is she going to throw Hillary Clinton under the bus, right? I mean, this is the run of a century, right? Right. This is going to be fascinating if she comes out the box against Trump. I mean, again, Trump has no boundaries whatsoever. You don't think he's going to rub this woman and her face into the ground at every chance he gets? Oh my God, it's going to be fucking hysterical, right? He's already. Right, I'm going to play Trump, vintage Trump, attacking Elizabeth Warren right after this, and then I'll let it go out. I'll let Trump take us out, okay? Because watch the whole thing. I mean, he's just, Trump is I mean, he's a master at it. This is his game. This is what Trump does. So the idea that Elizabeth Warren, the liar and the cheater and the Democratic tool, is going to somehow beat Trump, the master orator, the all powerful Donald Trump, is ridiculous, right? He's going to chew her up and spit her out. But the point is that the bigger point outside of the entertainment value on a run like this would be that is the fact that there's evidence now in the record, solid evidence that you just witnessed of Elizabeth Warren, who knows the problem, and then once in office goes against the problem. She's not pursuing any of the things that she talked about in that early video as the senator, right? She didn't back Sanders and his, you know, single-payer health care and break up the banks. She didn't do any of that. She ran the other way and sat in the aisle with the corporate Democrats and took the money, right? And that's where she is right now, right? She's a corporatist, a corporate Democrat, corporatist Democrat. So let's have Trump take us out. Peace. My name is Marcus Conte reporting.
They're going to cover Pocahontas, who was, think of it. Think of it. She of the great tribal heritage. What tribe is it? Let me think about that one. Meantime, she's based her life on being a minority. Pocahontas. They always want me to apologize for saying it. And I hereby, oh no, I want to apologize. I'll use tonight. Pocahontas, I apologize to you. I apologize. To you, I apologize. To the fake Pocahontas, I won't apologize. No, it's causing her problems. You know that name's caused, because now even the liberals are saying, take a test. Take a test. You know, I tell you, I shouldn't tell you because I like not to give away secrets, but this way. Let's say I'm debating Pocahontas, right? I promise you I'll do this. I will take, you know those little kits they sell on television for $2? Learn your heritage. Guy says, I was born in Scotland. It turns out he was born in Puerto Rico, and that's okay. It's good. You know. Guy says, I was born in Germany. Well, he wasn't born in Germany. He was born someplace else. I'm going to get one of those little kits. And in the middle of the debate, when she proclaims that she's of Indian heritage, because her mother said she has high cheekbones. That's her only evidence, that her mother said she had high cheekbones. We will take that little kit and say, but we have to do it gently. Because we're in the Me Too generation, so we have to be very gentle. And we will very gently take that kit and we will slowly toss it, hoping it doesn't hit her and injure her arm. Even though it only weighs probably 2 ounces. And we will say, I will give you $1 million to your favorite charity, paid for by Trump, if you take the test and it shows you're an Indian, you know. And let's see what she does, right? I have a feeling she will say no, but we'll hold that for the debates. Do me a favor, keep it within this room, because I don't want to give away any secrets. And the press is very honorable. They won't. Please don't tell her what I just said.